Scene 1 of this film, starring MC Kenzie and Serene, begins with a seemingly ordinary neighborly introduction, but quickly unfolds into something layered, with themes of vulnerability, loss, resilience, and the healing power of human connection, all of which are deeply resonant within broader LGBTQ culture. Serene introduces herself as MC Kenzie's neighbor, remarking that she's often seen her walking her dog and thought it was time to formally connect, and MC Kenzie receives her warmly, though, with the quiet sadness of someone who has been through hardship. MC Kenzie reveals that she has lived in her home for 8 years, though for the past 3 she's been alone, her husband having left abruptly without returning. Serene responds empathetically, confiding that her own ex-husband treated her poorly, relying on her support, while doing little for himself, and that she eventually chose to leave and build a life on her own. From the start, their dialogue establishes solidarity between women whose personal lives have been disrupted by abandonment and disappointment, a theme common in many queer narratives where women often turn to one another for the kind of care and understanding denied them in heteronormative relationships. Their conversation shifts when Serene brings up local gossip about MC Kenzie's unkempt yard, noting that neighbors have been critical of her pine needle-covered lawn, but she immediately affirms her support by defending MC Kenzie and offering resources, landscapers, and helpers. MC Kenzie politely declines, but this moment underscores the duality of neighborhood culture: intrusive judgment on one side and the potential for genuine solidarity and protection on the other. Serene then extends an invitation for lunch at a nearby vegan restaurant, which MC Kenzie gratefully accepts, the suggestion symbolizing a small but meaningful step toward companionship and possibly something deeper. What begins as a conversation about lawns and local gossip is already laying the groundwork for trust and intimacy, not through grand gestures but through small acts of recognition and empathy. Later in the same scene, Serene returns unexpectedly, this time bringing almond flour cakes inspired by their earlier discussion of the vegan restaurant. This gesture is more than politeness. It is an intentional act of care, signaling not just interest, but the willingness to show up tangibly for someone else. She notices MC Kenzie seems down and asks if she is okay, which opens the door for deeper vulnerability. MC Kenzie admits that there is much she didn't share the day before, and confesses her fears about losing her home due to financial hardship. She explains that when her husband left, he took everything, leaving her with only savings and credit card debt that she has been struggling to manage. Her house, once a symbol of stability, has become a fragile burden, and her shame is compounded by neighborhood judgment over its disrepair. Serene responds with compassion, offering validation rather than solutions, telling MC Kenzie she is a strong woman and reminding her that the house is still beautiful, just in need of love and attention. This mirrors the way she sees MC Kenzie herself, wounded but still radiant, needing care rather than criticism. The conversation then pivots toward the subject of intimacy, where MC Kenzie reveals that she has not been touched in years, not by a man nor a woman, due to stress and isolation. Serene reassures her, suggesting that human touch and connection are healing, and candidly points out that prolonged sexual frustration can affect one's emotional and mental well-being. Here, the film draws a significant parallel to LGBTQ culture, where physical intimacy is often stigmatized or silenced, yet it is an essential part of self-discovery, resilience, and healing. Serene makes her attraction clear, confessing that she has wanted MC Kenzie since she first saw her, and that she cannot stand seeing her struggle alone. The vulnerability MC Kenzie reveals is met not with pity but with desire, reframing her as worthy of affection rather than diminished by hardship. This moment resonates strongly with the idea that queer love often emerges not from idealized perfection, but from shared wounds, mutual recognition, and the courage to be seen authentically. Analyzing this scene in a broader cultural context, it highlights how LGBTQ narratives often center on the transformation of ordinary spaces, homes, backyards, kitchens, into stages for connection, intimacy, and liberation. Unlike many heteronormative portrayals of romance that rely on dramatic or external catalysts, here the relationship grows from small, everyday interactions, a shared cake, an empathetic ear, a willingness to see beyond appearances. This reflects the way many queer relationships throughout history developed quietly, under the radar, often in domestic settings where privacy allowed for authenticity. The film's choice to focus on dialogue rather than spectacle also reinforces the importance of conversation as a precursor to intimacy in LGBTQ culture, where communication and mutual understanding are essential. Due to the lack of societal scripts for same-sex relationships, there is also an undercurrent of critique in the way the neighbors' gossip is portrayed. While they embody judgment, Serene actively subverts that dynamic by standing up for MC Kenzie and affirming her right to live on her own terms. This mirrors broader LGBTQ struggles against societal policing of lifestyle and appearance, where conformity to community standards has often been demanded at the expense of individuality. By positioning Serene as an ally and advocate, the narrative reminds viewers that queer love often thrives in defiance of external scrutiny. Another key element is the emphasis on resilience and reinvention. Both women have endured relationships that drained them emotionally and financially, yet the film reframes their broken pasts not as endings but as gateways to new possibilities. Serene's confidence, forged in the fire of her own struggles, positions her as both caretaker and potential partner, while MC Kenzie's vulnerability becomes a source of strength once it is shared. In LGBTQ culture, where chosen families often replace unsupportive biological ones, this idea of finding strength in one another is crucial. The Babysitter's Club films we've discussed earlier touch on similar themes, but this story situates that dynamic more intimately between two adult women reclaiming their identities after heterosexual disappointments. Finally, the subtle way the scene introduces physical desire, through talk of touch, release, and longing, connects to the idea that sexuality for queer women is not just about physical gratification, but about healing, reclaiming ownership of one's body, and resisting the erasure of lesbian intimacy. Serene's confession that she has desired MC Kenzie is bold, yet it is delivered with tenderness and respect, framing intimacy as something earned through care and trust rather than demanded. This is emblematic of how LGBTQ love stories, particularly those between women, often foreground emotional connection as inseparable from physical desire, resisting stereotypes that reduce them to fetishized encounters. In conclusion, this first scene establishes much more than a flirtation. It is a narrative about resilience, care, and the power of queer intimacy to transform pain into healing. MC Kenzie's fear of losing her home is both literal and symbolic, representing her fear of losing stability, identity, and belonging, while Serene's presence signifies the possibility of rebuilding not just the house but herself through connection and love. The dialogue may begin with mundane neighborhood chatter, but it blossoms into a profound exploration of vulnerability, attraction, and the radical potential of women supporting and desiring one another. Within LGBTQ culture, where community and intimacy are deeply entwined with survival and self-acceptance, this scene resonates as a testament to the quiet, everyday ways queer love can emerge, heal, and empower. The scene is fully recapped, analyzed, and situated within a broader cultural framework highlighting how personal struggle and interpersonal connection are inseparable from the story of queer resilience and love.